Good morning and welcome to Locked In on Lockdown. My name's Alex Elaine.
I'm Jack Gerards.
And as always, we're coming with that daily heat, that source of inspiration, motivation, and actionable tips to get your mind right and your day started with a bang. Jack, what's today's topic?
Today we're talking about finding your meaning or finding your passion or purpose. And I think this is quite an interesting topic to explore right now because all of us have extra time on our hands and we can be utilizing that time to double down on our current interests, our current passions, and try and figure out a way to bring them to scale and monetize them. So I think there's going to be a wealth of people who potentially may be able to even come out of this whole lockdown situation with an entirely new career. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that's the topic for today. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yes, it's a real fascinating one. And I say it on quite a lot of the topics that they all are in many different ways. But I think you're right, Jack, in that, now is the time, if any, for people to take that step back and really try to identify and double down the things that they're passionate about and the things that give them life and give them energy. So the question is ultimately, how do you find it? Where is it? How do you identify it? And to me, that word passion is really intrinsic in actually that journey and that pursuit of finding purpose. To me, purpose is when you're living a life that gives you energy, gives you life versus feeling like it's a drain in some kind of way. And I know that when I was seeking purpose, when I was younger, I put a big sense of purpose around achieving material things and achieving a particular point of success. But I found that purpose has been double pronged. One, it's been operating in a career I'm passionate about, which is kind of sales and the marketing umbrella. But it's also been the social impact and the empowerment arm that have also been something that have formed my sense of purpose, because all of those things give me energy. They all give me life. And so that's often one of the ingredients that I look for when I'm trying to identify purpose. What about you, Jack? What ingredients do you look for?
I think you've summarized it perfectly there, especially with regards to purpose. For me, having always worked in industries revolving around helping people, I discovered very early on how empowering it is to give back and to be able to help other people. And it's really interesting because a lot of the time people will ask, oh, do you not find this exhausting, X, Y, and Z? But the reality of the situation is in helping other people, you get so much more energized and you realize that your life has a deep level of meaning to it. So you find that you're able and inspired to go out and do even more. But then also when you're talking about passion, I think when it comes to passion, it can be a little bit difficult because for me, any period of time when I've lived life without passion, I find it also very difficult to live life with purpose. But having gone through that journey multiple times, what I've realized is if you are at a stage in time right now where you don't necessarily know what your passion or your purpose is, then just look out for your interests. Whatever interest that you have right now, the things that you are interested in, and for lack of a better word, just double down on it. Just see how much you can squeeze out of it. And the more that you follow that rabbit hole, the more you'll be able to see whether or not this is actually something that you would be able to do long term. And the thing that Alex was talking about there again is with something that is your passion, it will leave you feeling energized, and you'll find that you can't pull yourself away from it. And as soon as you see that, that's a clear sign that you're onto something good.
Yeah, it's great points there, Jack. Question for you then is, say I'm someone who's in a job or in a line of work that I'm not passionate about, but I'm doing really well, I'm earning well. So in theory, I've got a good environment around me and seemingly good prospects for my future, but I'm not passionate about it. I'm doing it because it allows me to live a comfortable life. What would your advice be to that person?
Well, my immediate follow-up question would be, are you happy? Because I think that is that's the most important thing in life. There's no point having oodles of money and everything you could ever want if it means that you're not happy. So if you're happy, then, I mean, stick with it. There's no need to change it up. You may find that you will discover your passion as part of that process. The only other thing that I would advise is, if you have extra time outside of that, double down on your hobbies. Figure out what it is that you want to do long term, because obviously, if you're performing well already in your industry, it means that you're very capable, and you want to figure out how you can then utilize those skills and those experiences to be able to build something on an even grander scale. So I think that's probably the angle that I would look at it from.
Yeah. It's interesting. I guess I think you're right in that if you're happy or not is ultimately the measure. And as you say, if the person is, then it's understandable, and if they aren't. But I still think my overarching sentiment and my overarching encouragement to anyone is, irrespective of how content you feel doing what you're doing, that you should find a way to pivot towards your passion, even if it means it's initially a part-time thing or something that you get exposure to 1 hour a week. And the reason I say that is that, everything is a particular moment in time, right? And so as much as you may feel content at this particular stage in your life, I can almost say with certainty that in a year or 10 years or 20 years down the line, there's a possibility that regret might creep in, that you feel you lived this life that kind of was always on reasonable sense of cruise control, but that you never really got to maximize your potential or never really got to do the things that you truly wanted to. And we've got to remember, we get one shot at this thing called life. And what you don't want to do is go through it and thinking back that, I shoulda, woulda, coulda have done something that actually would have made me feel, as I say, a lot more energized and a lot more passionate about the impact that you could have. So I don't know how you feel about that, Jack, but my encouragement would be that.
I agree. I think the main thing that I'm thinking about is, for the majority of people, when they are in a position of comfort already, it's courage. It's courage that is needed to be able to actually pivot, or courage that is needed to do what you're already doing, but draw that additional energy to be able to put in those 2 hours extra every day on something completely unrelated. So I kind of wanted to explore that with you, Alexis, as to how, or what advice you would give to somebody who knows realistically in their heart of hearts what it is that they do want to do. How do they make that shift mentally towards actually taking the first step?
Yeah, well, I think everyone hears me speak a lot about the why, right? And again, I'm going right back to it. Start with your why, because the reason for that is I'm a big believer in how compelling is that why? Because when you set off to embark on achieving greatness in anything, the path is never straightforward. It's going to be like that. So if you don't have a compelling sense of connectedness to your why, when it starts getting rough, you're going to be prone to potentially derailing. So make sure that you're crystal clear on that. And then the second thing is just make a start, right? We're not talking about going from 0 to 1,000. If you know what direction you want to go in, and you know what's going to give you that sense of fulfillment in life, just take the first step. Yeah. And as I say, that might be reading 1 chapter a night. It might be listening to a podcast once a week. Just make the start, and then let yourself build and progress and start to move the needle again over time. What's your final takeaway, Jack?
My final takeaway is, man, you have to live a life with purpose. You have to live a life with passion. It's the best thing in the world when you wake up long before your alarm goes off in the morning, because you're ready to start the day. Find it.
Most definitely. I'm going to co-sign that as we get ready to sign out. So thanks so much for tuning in. Stay locked in.
See you next time. Take care.